All right, what a win for Jim Harbaugh and his Chargers over the Kansas City Chiefs. Wonder what 49ers fans have to think of that. You could drop it in the comments section. We just watched it on YouTube, so I figured I'd go live on YouTube and tell you why I think the Seahawks are going to be beating the 49ers on Sunday. I did pick San Francisco to lose the season opener, but I will pick the 49ers to have a winning record and head to the playoffs. So I'm going to explain all of my rationale over the course of this show. First, though, Kansas City, man, was there any scripted explosiveness offensively in that game? I know Mahomes threw the bomb on that desperation drive that worked. That was more of a broken play, though. I know that Kansas City is in a world of hurt as far as the wide receiver position goes. No Rashee Rice right now. Xavier Worthy got hurt. And it is tough sledding for the Chiefs. Kind of like, Philadelphia the other night wasn't looking very good at the wide receiver position either. I know Jalen Hurts getting a lot of blame there, but I don't think that A.J. Brown was really separating. So I know the Eagles won and the Chiefs lost, but a couple of commonalities here is that we saw receiver struggles from two of the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. And I'm just really interested to see how the 49ers look at that wide receiver position since they're going to be down some talent on Sunday. Down Brandon Ayuk for sure, down DeMarcus Robinson for sure. And of course, he's not a receiver per se, but Christian McCaffrey, his name has been in the news. I am just constantly marveling at how much confusion the 49ers managed to cast out of their building today. A lot of obfuscation, a lot of gamesmanship coming from Kyle Shanahan. I think that the key to remember there is regardless of whether or not they decide to bubble wrap Christian McCaffrey on Sunday, that's always the possibility for the 49ers if he did in fact run into something minor on Thursday. Regardless of that, he was looking fine, moving fine out there on the practice field before official practice started today, and that is a big point of relief for 49ers fans, probably for fantasy football owners too, because when you saw what happened on Thursday pop up online, it was like an injury report thing, and you saw, oh my goodness, Christian McCaffrey limited with a calf, late addition to the injury report. It was just like a here we go again kind of reaction. But that's why you can never just go with your initial gut reaction. You have to actually investigate a little bit further here. And it just so happened at a time on Thursday where it was hard to gather additional information. So it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. People just went crazy online. But today we did see Christian McCaffrey back out there on that practice field. So either he's ready to help the 49ers this weekend or they bubble wrap him and he helps them at some point soon. Either way, I do think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game. It doesn't have anything to do with Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers offensive side of the ball. It has to do with the fact that Seattle, I just think right now, at this moment, is a more well-rounded team than the 49ers. I think that the 49ers, whereas Seattle's defense finished number 6 down the stretch over the final 8 games of 2024, and I think they could be a top 5 unit this year. We could delve into all the matchups. I'm going to get into some more specifics of how I think this is going to work against the 49ers. Whereas they, though, have a fairly proven unit, an ascending unit on that side of the ball. The 49ers are essentially starting over defensively. Now, not completely. I get that they have Bosa. I get that they have Fred Warner, Diamador Lenore. I think they're going to be good defensively by the time all is said and done. But I think that they are a total early season wild card on the defensive side of the football. In fact, I wrote about this on the San Francisco Standard right here. You can see the full list of articles. We'll click on this one. Violence is coming inside the evolution of Robert Saleh's new look 49ers defense. So I've been around this team for a long time now. You guys know that. I'm coming up on a decade. This is my 9th season, but I've also been around all off season as this evolution for the 49ers has happened, and they needed to get younger. They weren't good defensively last year. That much is obvious. They brought back Robert Saleh. I think that was the 49ers' biggest addition of the offseason. So I've seen all this. I've seen the plan, but at the end of the day, the overarching takeaway that I have from the plan that the 49ers have put into motion is that it's going to take a while for this plan to, see real results on the football field. So the start of the season is going to be a particularly vulnerable time for the 49ers defense. This is how they've performed over the course of the past 7 seasons or 6 seasons. I got to get a little bit better adding there. But over the course of the past 6 seasons, including the first time that they went to the Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan, which of course also featured Robert Saleh. Blue is good, red is bad. This is what a regression looks like. This is why the 49ers decided they needed to really tear this back down to the studs and renovate the defense. Last year, they were so poor against the run. They were bad overall. The wheels came off for the 49ers. So they've brought in Robert Saleh to fix things. They've brought in a lot of rookies, the first 5 picks of the draft to fix things. I just think that as somebody who knows the NFL, who's been observing this league for a while, early season is not necessarily going to be pretty for this 49ers defense. And I think this Seattle game might be the hardest matchup for them in a while. Like you look at the schedule early in the season, there are going to be some winnable games there for the 49ers, especially heading to week 2 when they play the New Orleans Saints. But week 1 here against the Seattle Seahawks, they're down to 1-point favorites, the 49ers are. And I think a lot of the Christian McCaffrey drama might be fueling that by a point or two. But the overarching thing here is that Seattle looks like they're going to have a competent offense. I think that Sam Darnold played good football last year. I don't think he's as good as Brock Purdy, but I think that between him, Kenneth Walker III, Zach Charbonnet, JSN at the wide receiver position, Cooper Kupp now at the wide receiver position, I think that you've got some weapons here if you're Seattle, especially with the way that they've been blocking in athletic fashion up front over the course of the preseason. Gray Zabel, the first-round pick out of North Dakota State, playing left guard. I think you've got enough to pressure the 49ers at points that they were particularly weak last year. Now, have the 49ers improved against the run? I would hope so. If you're the 49ers, if you haven't improved against the run, you might as well just pack it up for this season. But I also think that the majority of improvement will be implemented as this season progresses. Young guys need to get reps. And I think this is a tough wake-up call for the 49ers to have to head to Seattle against a team that's going to be running a heavy run attack, a taste of the 49ers' own medicine against them. Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator, but you shouldn't underestimate Kenneth Walker. You shouldn't underestimate Zach Charbonnet, but especially Walker. This is a premier back when he's healthy, and it's week 1, so he's healthy and he's ready to go. I do wonder how much Cooper Kupp has left in the tank. I think that's very, very important for the 49ers or for the Seahawks to truly challenge all defenses, not just the 49ers. Obviously, Kupp was diminishing as a player late during his term in LA with the Rams, but he's back in his home state of Washington now, and we're going to get to see how he looks. The Seahawks first team went out there with 1 drive during the preseason, and it was a touchdown drive. They looked sharp, but it was the preseason. I think that they're going to be fine. I think it's not going to be a great offense. I think Seattle, they were number 18 offensively last year, the Seahawks were. I think that they will push that into the top half of the league this year, but I think this is going to be a defense-driven team. And, of course, on that side of the ball, that's when you could start talking about the matchup with Brock Purdy, with Christian McCaffrey. You can start talking about McCaffrey drama. I mean, I was astounded today with what came out of the 49ers facility. I tweeted this, and I talked about it up on the San Francisco Standard. We might as well actually just get the Standard article out on this. The first line of this essentially summarizes what's going on. Christian McCaffrey is officially listed as questionable for Sunday's season opener. If the 49ers' intention is to somehow confuse the hell out of the Seattle Seahawks and fantasy football owners worldwide ahead of this game, they're doing an admirable job. I mean, consider this from the 49ers' perspective. CMC was back out on the practice field today, but he wasn't officially practicing. But he wasn't in a helmet, and he was in the greeting scrum which typically doesn't happen for players who don't officially practice. Kyle Shanahan was as dodgy as ever, which created a lot of doubt in people's minds watching from afar. Meanwhile, 20 minutes later, CMC himself was as bullish as ever, creating some hope for people watching from afar. All of that happened probably within the time frame of an hour, maybe an hour and a half, from the start of 49ers practice all the way to the end of Christian McCaffrey's little media gaggle at his locker. So you've got messages going in all kinds of different directions, so much so that I have resigned myself to thinking that it was intentional from the 49ers. And again, they can still decide to bubble wrap Christian McCaffrey on Sunday. Something did happen on Thursday, but I saw him moving well out on the practice field. And then I saw mixed messages to the nth degree today. Like, this was wild. And when I see something like that, where it's one message going this way and 5 minutes later, something going in the complete other direction, I think that's a little coordinated. Just my gut feeling on the situation, having gathered all the information. Anyway, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy against that Seattle Seahawks defense if CMC does play on Sunday. They're not going to have Ayuk. They're not going to have Demarcus Robinson. It looks like they're going to have Dominic Pooney back at left guard. That's a nice development for the 49ers. He's worked his way back into health very, very quickly. Sigh of relief on that front from San Francisco. The offensive line then is fully intact for the 49ers. If McCaffrey can't go, they traded for Brian Robinson Jr., who's had a handful of practices with the football team at this point. They have insulated the receiver room with some moves, and they've solved the Juwan Jennings contract riddle with $3 million in extra incentives. So he's going to be out on the practice field after spending this week getting his conditioning back up. He was out on the practice field. He's going to be out on the game field in Seattle, Lumen Field on Sunday. So I actually, that's a low key, really, really intriguing matchup. 49ers offense, which even with guys down, even with the guys hurt, features a lot of intriguing weapons against a Seahawks defense that thinks they could be the best unit in the league this year, with more pressure on the 49ers offense than the Seahawks offense. I think just because of the, when you're considering the defenses on the other side, right? The 49ers defense, this is still so early in their maturation process. I think the offense is going to have to carry so much of the weight for this team, and especially working against that Seattle unit which is at home in this game. I think that there's going to be a lot on Brock Purdy's shoulders come Sunday. And the early part of this season, I don't want to say that it will resemble 2024, because that was just a pathetic defense by the end. They didn't have the leadership that Robert Saleh was bringing to the table. There were a lot of injuries. I get all that. 2024, it's not fair for this 2025 unit to say, oh, they're going to be like 2024. But I think some of the efficiency results early might not be pretty. I will be surprised if this is a top 10 defense early on. I think it can get there over the course of the year as Robert Saleh builds this thing. But because you can't expect, total dominance out of the gate from this defense, I think there's more pressure on the 49ers offense than there is Seattle's offense. So anyway, we can go back to the predictions article, and it's right here. It's up on the Standard. It's in the description. You can go check it out. I'm going to give you my score prediction, and I'm going to see if you guys agree with it. And you could always go and check it out at the Standard at any time, and it's there for you. But Tim Kawakami, my colleague, thinks the 49ers are going to win this one. He thinks it's going to be a lower scoring game. I actually think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring. Let's quickly hear from our sponsor for the week. It is Chubbies. Are you ready for some football? If you're not, Chubbies is ready to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding the highs and lows of the game from your couch, Chubbies has the officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. With bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams, Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos, wave-making swim trunks, and gym-ready mesh shorts. Yeah, you heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team's logo on them. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter meltdown. If you're not a jersey guy, this is an elite alternative. If you are a jersey fanatic, something tells me you'll love their NFL collection. Because when you're invested in the game, your outfit should be too. For a limited time, use our exclusive code Lombardi for $10 off at chubbyshorts.com/Lombardi. Yes, that includes the NFL collection. Let the thighs out and let the good times roll. For a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving our listeners $10 with the promo code Lombardi at chubbyshorts.com/Lombardi. That's $10 off your order with the promo code Lombardi, and that includes the NFL collection. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobe with Chubby's. So you can rewind that if you want to know how to get $10 for your Chubby's purchase. Anyway, back to the prediction. It's up here on the standard. Seahawks 27, 49ers 24. That's going to be my score prediction for this one. I just don't think the 49ers defense is quite ready to control a game yet. Maybe I'll be proven wrong here. Maybe they're a little bit ahead of what I charted out to be the probable developmental trajectory, but I don't think this is a great matchup for them, considering that the Seattle is going to test what was their biggest weakness last year. Now, if there's anybody that's going to surprise me and be ahead of schedule, it is a unit that is helmed by Robert Saleh and his crew. But if the 49ers cannot get a grip on game flow here by slowing Seattle down on the ground, Sam Darnold attempted the 5th highest amount of play action passes in the league last year with Minnesota. If Seattle can run the ball the way that teams were able to run the ball against the 49ers last year, or at least at 70% of that effectiveness, Darnold is going to eat the 49ers alive coming off play action. The 49ers have to win that battle up front in a way that we haven't seen them win battles up front in some time now. Because we know how solid a Shanahan-Kubiak system can be when it has that ground backbone. So, yeah, that's why I'm predicting Seattle to put up 27 in this game. On the other side, when regardless of whether you have Christian McCaffrey or not as the 49ers, if you can't slow the run going in the other direction, if you can't put a lid on that offensive production that starts with the ground game and is able to have everything work off of that spine offensively. And, Jim Harbaugh is doing a really good job with that in LA. We just saw Herbert go for over 300 and, they're running their power run scheme, and they've got Justin Herbert running the football as well. He picked up the first down with his legs. That was cool to see there at the end of the game. But if you can't defend that, you're never going to be in great position as an offense. Like, your team's offense is never going to be in great position to dictate what it needs to dictate, regardless of if Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Demarcus Robinson, you name them, are on the field. No matter what you have talent-wise offensively, you need a defense that lets you skate downhill offensively. Skating uphill is not fun. And that's the position the 49ers found themselves in all too much last season. That's a position they've got to dig themselves out of and make sure they don't find themselves in often this year. And I just think that the scales are tilted in a way that the 49ers will have to play this game a little bit uphill on Sunday. And if that's the case, well, I think they're going to lose 27-24. That being said, my season prediction video is going to be coming out tomorrow. I'm going to be a judge at the San Francisco Fire Department chili cook-off. I told Trent Williams about it today, and Trent said, I want to be a judge for that. And unfortunately, the 49ers are flying to Seattle tomorrow, so Trent's not going to be able to partake. It's out on the Marina Green. I think Festus Ezeli is going to be one of my co-judges, so that's going to be cool. Former Warriors forward Festus Ezeli. But anyway, we're going to get some good stuff from the chili cook-off to support the fire department. And from there, we're going to make our 49ers season prediction. And I can give you guys the hint at what the prediction is going to be, I think the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. I can say that. I think they're going to have a strong winning record, and you can guess whether or not you think I'm going to you can guess whether or not I think they're going to win the NFC West. Here's another hint. They play the Seahawks in week 1, and then they play the Seahawks again in week 18. So there's a full range of a season, like literally bookending games against the Seattle Seahawks in this 49ers season. I believe that week 18 is going to go a whole lot differently than week 1 for the 49ers. I have never entered a season covering this team, and it's been a while now that I started covering them, where I saw as much in-season growth potential as I do from the 49ers this year. I mean, let's just toss on the depth chart here. Let's look to see what the 49ers are entering battle with. What do they have at their disposal? Remember that we've got free agents are highlighted in teal and rookies are highlighted in green. As you can see here on the defensive side of the ball, after all training camp battles have been completed, it looks like the 49ers are going to have 3 rookie starters defensively. We got a shade Upton Stout's name in green. By season's end, there's a really good chance that you're going to see Nick Martin with a more pronounced role for the 49ers. I think there's a really good chance, and it's almost mandatory for San Francisco to reach their goals. I think that you're going to see CJ West and Alfred Collins as very, very integral parts of the 49ers D-line rotation. So by the time that this is all said and done in 2025, if the progression, the developmental progression that the 49ers are looking for goes down in the way they want it to go down, you're going to have 5 rookie starters, maybe even 6. You can have up to 6 rookie starters on this defense. That is a lot. The fact they have 3 projected in week 1 is a crap load of rookie starters. I mean, the Rams had a massive renovation of their defense over the past couple of years, but last year they only had 2 rookie starters. So the fact that the 49ers have 3 with upward mobility, realistically probably up to 5, but possibly even up to 6, that's a major, major defensive renovation. Now, the really cool thing that leads me to believe that the 49ers have true upward mobility this year is that yellow represents veteran pillar. Look, every single position group has a veteran pillar. Nick Bosa for these young guys along the defensive line. Fred Warner for Nick Martin and younger guys like Winters, Bethune at the linebacker level. And then Deommodore Lenoir to help shepherd along a secondary where Marquise Siegel and Upton Stout might be getting starts for the 49ers. So what you have here is this fascinating blend of youth and true veteran star power. That, there's a chance that Nick Bosa just so thoroughly dominates this game on Sunday that it'll be like, oh, okay, well, 14 pressures, 15 pressures, Ronaldo Green interception, Marquise Siegel, first career pick. Upton Stout's getting in on things because Bosa's dominating Seattle so thoroughly. And the 49ers defensive tackles making their first start as a duo, and Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis are holding the run game for Seattle down to a level where the 49ers can unleash the pass rush. Sure, that might happen. And in that case, this 49ers defense will look really good out the gate. But to me, when I see so many different questions that I think that they're going to address over reps, over experience, over the course of the year, it just seems more likely to me that Seattle's going to be able to climb this game into the 20s. And, then the pressure's on Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and the entire 49ers offense. Can they turn around and outscore that type of Seattle effort? I don't think it's likely for any team. I mean, look what just happened in the game between the Chargers and the Chiefs right now. San Diego, and I'm going to call them San Diego because I like calling them San Diego, finished with 27. The Chiefs finished with 21. There's some lessons to be gleaned from that score, right? 27 is quite a few points by NFL standards. The Chargers were very, very balanced today, and their quarterback put on a hell of a game, Justin Herbert, to score those 27. Meanwhile, Kansas City, with receiver issues, right, with some offensive weaponry issues today, despite having Patrick Mahomes, who is obviously a really good quarterback, Kansas City was only able to squeeze out 21. So they were in the low 20s. The Chargers, the stronger team in all phases really today, in the upper 20s. I see a tighter spread between the 49ers and Seattle, but I do see Seattle getting into those upper 20s against the 49ers defense that, Kansas City's defense, we'll see what they are this year. They've got Steve Spagnuolo at the helm. He was able to dial up some good blitzes today. Some plays kept them in the game, but Kansas City burned them on some others. There was highs, there were lows, and I think the 49ers will go through their share of highs and lows as well on Sunday. But what we can learn from tonight is that the Kansas City defensive effort wasn't great against Herbert and company, and Mahomes wasn't able to overcome it himself. I mean, Mahomes, try as he might, and he had some big plays in that second half that seemed a little off script, especially that one bomb that converted the fourth down. But try as he might, it wasn't quite enough. The defense wasn't quite good enough to give Kansas City the ball back one more time with a chance to win that football game. So you got to have both sides of the football operating, and I think that's where Seattle might be a little bit more balanced than the 49ers. Mike tells me that people are not happy in the chat that I picked the Seahawks. Well, sorry that I'm not sorry, but this is where you come for your most objective 49ers coverage. I've always told it how it is, not how you want it to sound. And I think you'll probably be a little bit happier with my full season long prediction tomorrow. But I understand that these seasons are novels and each game is a chapter. I just don't think that the first chapter for the 49ers is going to be triumphant, but I think that they're going to have plenty of triumphant chapters a little bit later in the season. So that's what I think. If you have any good questions, I'll be happy to answer them right now. See, we got people who think the 49ers are going to win. Good for you. It wouldn't shock me if they did. They are favored by a point in this game on the road, but my prediction is my prediction. CMC is not at 100%. He's at 200%. Good comment. Kendrick Bourne will sign with the Chiefs. 559ers. I like that. Cool. Welcome to my home region. Kendrick Bourne decided to sit out week 1 to see where his best options would be. And I think Kansas City might be that with Xavier Worthy going down. Chiefs probably going to be in the market for a receiver. They were on the market for DeAndre Hopkins last year. He didn't play a great Super Bowl, that was for sure. Obviously past his prime, but Kansas City seems a little receiver starved. And then go over to Philadelphia. I don't think A.J. Brown is fully healthy. He didn't win a single route last night. People giving Jalen Hurts a hard time, but I thought that he played within himself and helped win him that game. I think he's taken a little too much heat. Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. Let's not pretend that he's Peyton Manning carving up the defense there, looking to his fourth read, right? Like Jalen Hurts is a good player, but he's a certain style of player. And I think that he delivered perfectly fine for the Eagles against the Cowboys last night, considering the fact that A.J. Brown wasn't getting open. I mean, look at the separation score from that game. It's like a 0% separation win for A.J. Brown. So I don't think that he is fully healthy, dealing with the knee. I know that was the issue in Tennessee when they traded him away, and could be something that continues lingering for A.J. Brown moving forward. Say that you're depressed with the doom and gloom news and the season hasn't even started. I don't really pay attention to what other people are putting out there. I think that the 49ers have had plenty of good news leading up to this season. The team has essentially healed up over the course of this first week. At the start of practice on Thursday, they had all 70 out there, which was unprecedented. Something minor hit Christian McCaffrey, and he was back out moving fine ahead of practice today. If you're truly into doom and gloom mode, and I'm sure some people were after the news came down Thursday, they probably thought, he's limited in practice, he's done for the season, everything is over. It's like, no, we saw him on the field, he's moving fine. They could choose to be cautious because, unlike a lot of fans, the 49ers aren't going to be living and dying by every single thing that happens in week 1. So maybe they bubble wrap Christian McCaffrey. It's fine if they do. It looks like he's ready to go, though, for this 2025 season. So to me, it seems like there's been a lot of positive news regarding the 49ers. It's just my objective look at it. Even with that, I'm picking the 49ers to not win this week, but I think they're going to have a good year. I just think that this is going to be a year that rewards those who are calm and patient, because that's how the 49ers are going to have to blossom as a team. It's not going to be a finished product week one. This Christian McCaffrey scenario, it's going to reward those who are calm and patient. If you're emotional and you run around like a chicken with your head cut off just because somebody's limited at practice on a Thursday before the regular season even starts, well, yeah, a lot of things are going to upset you. I can't help you. Like if you're going to be like that, then you have what's coming to you, right? You're going to be a nervous wreck for the entire season. But if you actually just take a deep breath, realize that there's gamesmanship in the NFL, that minor injuries happen. They're part of the sport. That, yeah, a guy might miss a week or two here, but you can just trust your eyes when you see him move, and he's moving fine. If you just sit back and chill and realize the 49ers also have Brian Robinson Jr., you're going to get a lot more enjoyment out of what's unfolding on the football field. And I think that this season, especially because it's going to be a longer fuse kind of season for the 49ers, will reward the people who look at this with a clear mind, who look at this objectively, not with this insane emotional bias. I see a big time emotional bias in all 49ers news these days. Everybody has their own emotional slant on it because they think that it sells clicks or whatever. But I'm just happy that more people watch this channel by far than any other 49ers channel, by like a lot, like a huge gap, much bigger than any of the gaps that we've seen between two teams in the two NFL games that we've seen so far this year. So I thank you guys. It's going to be a fun ride for sure. If you want to read the prediction, if you want to read the prediction that the 49ers are going to win this game, Tim made that one up here on the San Francisco Standard. There's Christian McCaffrey catching the football against Tampa Bay last year. But Tim had the big prediction here, 20-17. Here, Tim says Brock Purdy probably can't win this himself. The 49ers' young defense will have to hold up against the Seattle running game, and the special teams can't mess up. This will be tense until the end, but Purdy is 3-0 at Lumen Field in his career and has shown that he can avoid the kind of mistakes that have haunted previous 49ers QBs and all QBs really in Seattle. It is true that Brock Purdy is 3-0 in his career against the Seattle Seahawks. It's a good call out from Tim. Here, you could see this a little bit bigger. Here's my prediction at the bottom. This is my counter. The 49ers should see an inordinate amount of in-season growth in 2025. The defense that takes the field in Seattle on Sunday will not be the same defense that rounds into December form. Perhaps it's fitting that the regular season starts and ends with games against Seattle. The Seahawks will visit Levi Stadium in Week 18. I think the 49ers will win that game, but they're still a little too green on the defensive side to grab this one. That's my opinion. I think the 49ers are going to grow over the course of this season. Any more questions? I'm ready for them. Julie says, I think Brock will do well, but he can't win it by himself. I don't think any quarterback can ever win fully by himself. I think that's a myth, but I get your point. Greg thinks the 49ers are going to win 27-14. Maybe Jake Moody gets involved in this game. This is a interesting one. What I think about more than 50% of 49ers fans up north, I think that's wildly impressive from 49ers fans. That has never happened in Seattle before. I don't think there's like literally ever been a game played up in Seattle with more than half the crowd as the visiting team's fans. And Vivid Seats project this to be 53% 49ers fans on Sunday. That's wild to me. Anybody who's been paying attention to this rivalry, especially since the Harbaugh days, congratulations to Jim Harbaugh on his victory against the defending champion Kansas City Chiefs tonight. But anybody who's been following this rivalry since those epic Harbaugh Pete Carroll days knows that, yeah, the 49ers traveled well, but when they went to Seattle, that was a really, really tough place to play because it was overwhelming majority Seahawks fans, and the stadium is built to reverberate noise. Well, now the 49ers are going to have their fans have their noise reverberated by the parabolic overhangs of Lumen Field. I mean, how the tables have turned, right? Of the past couple visits, there's been a lot of red in the stands, but it hadn't been 50%. Now it's projected to be over half the crowd, which could be significant in this game on Sunday. If this game is as closely matched as I think it's going to be, maybe the 49ers do get a little bit of an extra push because they have a crowd backing in this game. Now, it's going to be loud for both directions, especially if the Seahawks pipe in noise. Just kidding. Maybe not. But 50% of the crowd is still 47, even if Vivid Seats is right, is still going to be behind the Seahawks. So I think both teams, this might be one of those games where both teams have to use a silent count, which I think is special. I think that's a really, really good environment. What I'm going to do, I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to take in at least a quarter of this game from the outside so I can really just report to you about what the 49ers crowd is doing to Seattle. Like, it does Seattle really need a silent count? What does it sound like in the building? Since I'm going to actually be there, I'm very, very excited to report from the scene as to how loud it is there. Oops, yeah, sorry, I called the Chiefs the defending champions. The Eagles are the defending AFC champions. The Eagles beat them in the Super Bowl. We saw the Eagles play the night before, and then we saw the Chiefs play in this early game in Brazil. I did not mean to call the Chiefs the defending general champions, the defending AFC champions. Thank you for the call out. What's the starting defensive line going to look like for the 49ers? I think it's going to look like this. Bosa, Jordan Elliott, Kalia Davis, and Michael Williams. With Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis being potentially temporary starters at defensive tackle. In an ideal world, CJ West and Alfred Collins grab those jobs by the time the season is over. Maybe even Jordan Jefferson. He's a second-year player with some upside. So keep your eyes out for all of those possibilities. Appreciate you, Enrique. We try to bring the best and most objective 49ers information on the internet. What are the 49ers going to do with all these receivers? They could crowd out the young guys. Which young guys exactly are you talking about being crowded out? I mean, Pearsall's not getting crowded out. Jawan Jennings is a veteran. Watkins is on the 53-man roster. He's not getting crowded out. Are you talking about, I mean, there's not really many young guys on this side. The Chosen, Turner, and Gage are all vets. Junior Bergen is a young guy, but he's more of a returner than a receiver. I mean, if anything, the 49ers don't have enough firepower in the receiving room. I think they're going to be fine now that guys have returned, but I don't see this as a logjam kind of situation for the 49ers at the wide receiver room at all. Thanks for the question, though. Are you going to get a stadium tour pregame? Of course. You always get a stadium tour pregame. We're going to go all the way to the upper deck of Lumen Field. We're going to get a nice view of downtown Seattle. I think the weather should be good. We're going there in early September. First, of course, I got to judge that San Francisco Fire Department chili cook-off tomorrow on the Marina Green. Then we got to make the flight up to Seattle. We'll see if the 49ers do a boombox entrance. It's a little tougher to film in Seattle, though, because they don't really have a tunnel in Seattle. They just come straight out onto the field. So I'm not really sure if I'll be able to get in position. But if I can get in position, I will get that video for you tomorrow. Fernando says the rookies on the 49ers are better than the guys that they lost. They're improved. They're faster. I agree. I think they're going to be better. But I also think that they may not be as polished and better overall right away. I think both things can be true at once. Remember, this is your last chance to send in your record prediction video. I'm going to retweet that right now. You can go to the YouTube community page to find the link. You can upload your video predicting the 49ers record to a Dropbox link that we have up there. And I will include the best predictions in the season prediction video that I'll be dropping tomorrow. So even though I am picking the Seahawks to beat the 49ers on Sunday, I think you're going to like my season prediction, the record prediction for the 49ers, a lot better. And for that, if you want to be included, your video can be included in that video. It's going to go off tomorrow. I guarantee you that's going to pop tomorrow. Check out my Twitter or check out the community page and upload your own video prediction. If it's good, if it's nice and tight under 10 seconds, then we're going to get you involved. All right, congratulations to Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Big win tonight. There's your 49ers Seahawks prediction. We'll talk to you soon.